Yo, what's good, y'all? It's a Project Man, and as you can see, your boy is cold as a fuck. But anyway, it's just gonna be me and you time. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to give by the end of the year. That's chapstick. For the end of the year, I wanted to give my best matches of 2025 or best matches, best PLE of 2025. I feel like in WWE for my wrestling fans out there, the year's over. You know, pretty much this is only going to be like, by the time I get this recording now, it's going to be one day left in the year. Or this actually is the last day. Excuse me, I was waiting for that burp. That last day of the year, December 31st of 2025. That is insane. We're legit in the home stretch like last year and everything. But I wanted to say what PLE I felt was the best top to bottom. And there were honorable mentions, or I guess you could say things you could put in the top five. Like, for example, the night one of WrestleMania 41, because they say WrestleMania was bad. It was really mainly night two that wasn't hidden, because WrestleMania 41, well, I guess you could say, nah, it was really, actually, it was the opposite. WrestleMania night two was firing off on all cylinders until we kind of started getting into like the last couple matches. Because like, if you remember, like, I think it was like, we had that great triple threat with the females. I think that was the one that was Bianca, Io, and Rhea. And then like the next match was like, I think Drew and Damian Priest. And then the third match was like that fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. And there was like another match that I think delivered. I think. But yeah, it was like back to back to back, like W batting average type shit. You know what I'm saying? But then the, main event kind of, the main event was what it was. I think that was also the one where we had Logan Paul and AJ Styles on that night, but it didn't really, I think, and it didn't really get into that high gear that you were kind of expecting them to. And then obviously we had the terrible main event, mainly because the match was like so slow and methodical, and it kind of had got to that point where it was not only so slow and methodical, but it was also a situation where the ending was just anticlimactic and just awful. But anyway, then you got other but WrestleMania still had some bright spots and all that good stuff. Because I remember the first match, I think, was Jay and Gunther. That didn't really go too well. But there was still some good matches. Like LA Knight and Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title was nice. Like I said, the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental title was doing well. Women's had a great triple threat. The men had a great triple threat. And yeah, so it was still some good matches. But WrestleMania overall, I can see why people say it didn't deliver now that I kind of run down. Because I'm like, oh, was it that bad? But I'm actually thinking I forgot about how the matches just weren't really getting into that gear they needed to get into, because then we had the lackluster New Day War Raiders tag match. So I guess, you know what, it was as bad as people because now I started thinking about what was on each night, and I'm like, well, that's fair actually. I thought about it more. But anyway, then you had Evolution. I think that was the one where they had the battle royal to determine who was going to fight at Evolution. That was where they also had that great match with Jade and Naomi. They had a pretty good match with Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. A really good triple threat with Bayley, Lyra, and Becky. A NXT title match with JC Jane and Jordan Grace, if I'm not mistaken. Irma Gerb. What? Well, we know the main event was Io and Rhea Ripley. I don't know if there was another match. This is the one where they actually gave it like 6 or 7 matches, I think. So I think I might have dang near covered covered all bases there. But anyway, really good pay-per-view, PLE top to bottom. And obviously that was that great cash in from Naomi, and her doing the best character work of her career. Honestly started becoming one of, if not my favorite on-screen character. But before she got pregnant. But anyway, yeah, but just for the most part, that delivered pretty well top to bottom. So that was an honorable mention. Another one was like SummerSlam, but because you had the pretty good match between Punk and Gunther. Seth cashing in. Well, it was a big moment, even though in the grand scheme of things it kind of didn't matter, because not only did he end up legitimately getting injured, but from something he could have completely avoided. But also it was a situation where it's kind of like, well, the ruse of the century was more to fool the fans, because that wouldn't have made his cash in any more effective as far as like it doesn't trick Punk or give him really a false sense of security that, oh, Seth is not going to cash in on. Like, as in, if Seth had been perfectly healthy and decided to cash in after Punk's match, it would have been the same effect as if he would have been injured or faked an injury. It would have been the same shit. He could have cashed in the exact same way, but it just wouldn't have had the theatrics of him dropping the crutches and stuff. So when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it kind of didn't really, but it's still a very exciting moment, right? People didn't really expect to cash in because a lot of people thought he was legit injured up until like the very last minute. Some people like me were kind of expecting a cash in to be potential. But anyway, moving on to the man. I'll give you what you asked for. What I felt was the best top to bottom PLE this year for WWE was for me Elimination Chamber 2025, man. I just felt like the women did really good at the beginning because it started out, if y'all remember, with, you know, Jade coming back and pretending like she was going to hit Liv because they were kind of trying to paint the frame, you know. What would be a frame? Like, or what, you got framed like you know what I'm saying? They were kind of trying to paint that frame that Liv Morgan was the one. They were trying to make you try to think that it was going to be Liv, which we all knew that was going to be used as like kind of a swerve type of thing. But they were trying to make you think that Liv Morgan had basically been the one to throw Naomi onto the car windshield or whatever. And she acts like she's going to attack Liv, and then she beats the hell out of Naomi. And then Bianca does her the ESPY award type selling when she was just throwing a whole tantrum in the Elimination Chamber pod. So it started out hot already off that storyline. And then, sorry if it's a little loud. I've been trying to fix this mic. It's like it's so good at producing sound that I don't even have to even talk much or be that close to it. But anyway, that's Blue Yeti mics for you. Just a little heads up there as we've gone into this video. But anyway, started out hot with that. Then the match was obviously really good. Then the next match, I think that was the one where they did, was that the women's, I think it was a women's tag match. I think it was like Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton versus like, I think it was like Candice LeRae and Nia Jax when they were doing a little something together. That didn't really, no one really cared about that. But it was immediately followed. I don't know if this was the correct order, by the way. I could be wrong. I think that might have been the second match. But then you had the great freaking match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. You could even say 5-star Elimination Chamber match that they had Elimination Chamber where it was an unsanctioned match. And knowing it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, now knowing their chemistry and that they are both willing to go crazy and take crazy bumps to have a entertaining match for the crowd to give them their good old money's worth, it wasn't really shocking at all that these guys delivered with their chemistry and the fact that they are going to give the fans an entertaining show, especially when they have like an unsanctioned type match, especially Kevin Owens. They're gonna go crazy, and that's exactly what they did. And then there was that great moment where Randy Orton returned, and he RKO'd Kevin Owens, but he didn't get the punt kick him. And man, that just seemed like it was gonna be like the best storyline going into WrestleMania. But then obviously we had the Kevin Owens unfortunately getting a legitimate neck injury. And yeah, that just sucks because when you think about it, Kevin Owens had a great feud with Cody. That was the best feud that Cody had in his first title reign. And he had a great match with him, another great match at the pay-per-view before that, the Royal Rumble, or PLE before that was the Royal Rumble, that he had a great match with Cody, and then followed up with another great match at Elimination Chamber with Sami Zayn. So he was on a roll of just, it's funny, matches that involve like ladders and all this other stuff. But anyway, that's his specialty, we all know. But Kevin Owens was really on pace of being like wrestler of the year this year as far as just delivering the best content. Imagine if we would have got, he would have probably delivered another great match. Hitting, W batting average. He would have been 3 out of 3 with PLEs if he would have been able to compete at WrestleMania and have sure it would have been a great match with Randy Orton, but neck injury caused that. But anyway, that was a great moment. Randy also RKOing everybody. That was funny. Seeing him RKO all the people, the security or whatnot out there. And then a really good chamber match with the men, followed by a great segment with The Rock, my GOAT, my greatest of all time. Only in his day. I think John Cena is the greatest WWE superstar of all time. I don't think anyone else had a better WWE career. But for me, the damn near perfect wrestler for me is like The Rock. To me, that's why I say he's my GOAT or whatever. But Cena's like, scratching his bald head when it comes to the leaderboard. But anyway, but just that much. Anyway, my goats right there. Rock became my favorite as I got older. Cena was my favorite when I was a kid. Still my favorite now, but he was way more my favorite when I was a kid. And then The Rock he's the only one, The Rock is the only one that has taken that Cena spot as my favorite. So to have both of those guys in the ring at the end of the chamber and they do the ultimate swerve where they, obviously tell Cody to sell his soul and Cody hits Rock with the go F yourself. And then he hits the signal to cutthroat and Cena hits his just soulless face and cold stare, and freaking turns heel 20 years as a good guy, as the number one good guy in the company, and he kicks the guy in the balls, and just a great heel turn. And then
Travis was there too.
It's kind of a side note. I ain't gonna lie. I know I'm not the only person when I watched it thinking like, okay, Travis is kind of he's gonna come down there, right? He's a celebrity, and then he's gonna be on the outside of the ring or get in his seat that's probably at the front or whatever. But no, they actually kept him throughout it. But how it obviously went afterwards was fucking awful. Just from The Rock just basically saying, final boss is out, deuces. From him low-key peacing out to Triple H not really having a good follow-up plan when they didn't have him. And TKO kind of basically forcing The Rock to be at Elimination Chamber by saying they needed some type of big angle to sell more tickets because they needed more money. But anyway, that was the whole situation. But the heel turn was great. Execution was great. Could have had a dope ass explanation, but it is what it is. The heel turn itself was a great, shocking, viral, big money making type moment. So they got what they wanted as far as their moment is concerned. Follow up, however, yeah. But great moment. But as you can see, and like I said, Travis was there too, slapped the shit out of Cody with that and burst his eardrum. I'm surprised Cody didn't want to freaking knock the grills out of his goddamn teeth. But anyway, it punched that weed smoker right in his diaphragm. Now I'm kidding. We actually like Travis's music, but that was fucked up with the WrestleMania. And how everything just kind of fell through with him with WWE in general. Yeah. Stick with the music, my guy. I ain't gonna lie. Stick with the music, gang. It's not for everybody to come into wrestling. But anyway, but yeah, top to bottom, I felt Elimination Chamber was the best. Like I said, the only thing that would probably come after that for me would probably be Evolution, and then after that would maybe be SummerSlam. And the thing with Evolution was, it was more because everybody just showed out and delivered. It wasn't because there was this great build. If you guys remember, they had it happen right after Saturday Night's Main Event, and NXT had a PLE as well. And then they kind of threw Evolution on that next day, which was a Sunday. So it was already booked after a packed weekend. Because I think AEW had a PLE as well that I think that was all in. So yeah, it was a packed weekend. And they kind of threw Evolution on that Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I remember I was putting my bed frame together when I was watching it. Where you have, that bed frame where you can put the little steel bars and screw them in together. I was putting my little bed frame together, and that's when I started watching it, or that's what I was doing when I was watching it, the first match of the show, and yeah, they were just freaking killing it and doing their thing. But from a top to bottom standpoint, even though Elimination Chamber had that one match that nobody really cared about, that's where they should have just did Trish and Tiffany Stratton rather than having them in a tag match because they were in Toronto, Canada, and all that stuff. But anyway, at the end of the day, I still feel it was the best top to bottom PLE as far as build was concerned, as far as and it's almost to me, to make up for the fact that Trish and Tiffany Stratton tag match that they had with Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, it's almost to make up for the fact that match was really nothing on this show, was made up for with a longer segment that followed the men's Elimination Chamber match and a fantastic, great heel turn. And also it was dope seeing Cena in the match where he got to interact with, CM Punk, an old rival of his. Technically Seth Rollins is an old rival too, so he got to interact with different people. And now that I think about it, that is crazy to think that... No, actually, I might be wrong. Because Drew wasn't in that, was he? No, I think it was Cena... No, Drew was in it. Yeah, Drew was in it. I was about to say, it's crazy how that's the only time we got Drew and Cena in the same ring. And I was right, because I just realized Drew was in that match. That was the only time we got Cena versus Drew in any way, shape, or form, was in the Elimination Chamber match. That is crazy. We didn't get that in the year. But considering Drew's been the best heel since last year, he's been like the best heel as far as just like, other than like a Gunther, he's been the best heel as far as like quality mic work. Dom's been doing his thing, but Drew's been positioned. People like Drew and Gunther have been positioned more as a top heel. So Drew's just been killing it with his feuds. Wish they would give him people he can kind of kill it more with, because the Cody stuff has been kind of roller coaster. Like sometimes the Cody stuff's been good, and then other times the Cody stuff's been kind of like, where are we going with this? Because Drew keeps losing. But then they picked it back up with this 3 stages of hell match that they're gonna have. So hopefully that can just deliver, and that one can only hope Drew could win the title. But some tells me they're gonna want their golden boy, as Drew calls him, corporate Cody. Some tells me they're going to probably want him going into WrestleMania as the champion. Again. But anyway, no shade to Cody. It just would be dope to see a fresh champion, especially somebody that's been killing it like Drew. It just would be dope to see something fresh. But anyway, and also so that Drew doesn't continuously just get his credibility dinged time and time again by these losses. But anyway, Elimination Chamber to me was the best show. Like I said, with the great heel turn that they did with John Cena, to me that made up for the fact that that match that Tiffany Stratton and Trish had, that tag match they had, was just like, nobody, like you knew that was gonna be the most sleeper match on the card, as far as like nobody was gonna care about that match. Even if they would have did like anything crazy or anything, it just was always gonna be the match that nobody really was gonna care about. Out of all of what was on the show, that was always gonna be the thing but like I said, to me it was made up for almost by the massive Cena heel turn. That kind of like trumped the fact that that match didn't have not much care, and also not many people even remember that match was on the card. Like, to me, that was made up for by the great heel turn, and how the promo went, and how that boy Rock was getting a little creepy with it, and awkward with the I want your mind, I want your soul. Like, this man is trying to play the role of a Grim Reaper. And it was great content. But anyway, y'all let me know down below in the comments section, man. What did y'all think was the best WWE PLE this year of 2025, since it is the last day of 2025 that I will be posting this? What was the best WWE PLE? And I think I'm also going to make an appreciation video of just kind of what we've accomplished and things like that through this year compared to last year. So I'm gonna make an appreciation video, and those will be the 2 videos that will come out today: best WWE PLE of 2025, and an appreciation video to you guys, man. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to think, should I make a video on like the best John Cena match, because he is, like I said, one of my GOATs. So I might do that. I don't know. But y'all let me know down below if y'all want that. I might make it anyway. It's going to be probably a pack, because I just thought of like a lot of stuff I could do at the end of this year. So that actually might be a triple upload. But anyway, I love to appreciate you guys. And then we're going to say it is what it is. And what it's going to be is the certified product G. Continue to come out with the content, the videos, the bangers over and over again for you guys doing my thing and doing it well. And I shall see y'all good as well in the next video, man. That's the vibe that DJ is on. You're going to like it. And I shall see you in the next one.